Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome back to Miss Trisha's virtual classroom. This week, we're going to be learning about life cycles of different animals. We're going to learn about the life cycle of a frog and how it turns into a frog. We're going to learn the life cycle of a plant later on, and we're going to plant some beans. So, moms and dads, if you have any beans laying around in a wet paper towel and a Ziploc bag, collect those for Thursday's lesson because we're going to be doing science experiment. We're going to be learning the life cycle of birds and chickens. We did the chicken dance this morning with Miss A. That was so much fun. She was so silly. Last week we learned the life cycle of a butterfly. And today we're going to be learning the life cycle of a frog. And this looks like a frog, but it's actually called a froglet. I don't know if you can see, it still has a little bit of a tail on the end, which means it's a froglet. We're going to learn all about that today. So let's get started with our presentation that you can see into my computer. Oops, hold on. Back up, select, share. All righty. It's time to read a book. Come with me. It's time to read a book. Come and see. It's time to read a book. It's time to read a book. It's time to read a book. Come with me. And as you can see today, we are going to be learning all about frogs. So today we will learn about the life cycle of a frog and how it goes from an egg to a tadpole to what's called a froglet. It still has that little bit of a tail there. And last but not least, the frog. And that's called a metamorphosis. So this morning, Miss Trisha asked you in our morning message, do frogs go through metamorphosis? And the answer is yes, because just like caterpillars just like butterflies start off as a caterpillar and they change into something completely different, which is the butterfly, the frog starts off as a tadpole when it comes out of the egg, and it changes into something completely different, which is the frog. And that is what a metamorphosis is. Something that grows and changes into something completely different. Whereas a chicken, it comes out as a baby chicken and it just grows into an adult chicken. It does not change into something completely different. And a plant comes out as a baby plant, a sprout, and it grows into leaves and flowers, which is not something completely different. It's just bigger and more grown. But the frog changes into something completely different, just like the butterfly. And so does the ladybug. They go through metamorphosis, and dragonflies also go through a metamorphosis, where they start off as like a larva. And here we go. It's time to stand up so you can dance like a frog. Are you ready? Children's songs, sing and move along. Children's songs, make your brain and body strong. Brain and body strong. Oh, there's a little froggy. I'm a frog. I'm a frog. I have 4 legs and live in a pond. Swim in the water and stop to spawn. Lay my eggs there in the pond. I change and grow like this. It's called metamorphosis. I'm an egg. I'm an egg. I don't have gills and don't have legs. Stay in the water, grow and grow. Soon I'll hatch and be a tadpole. Tadpole. I change and grow like this. It's called metamorphosis. I'm a tadpole. I'm a tadpole.
gills and mouth and teeth I grow. Wiggle my tail with my tadpole friends. Soon we'll be tadpoles with legs.
Tadpoles with legs.
I change and grow like this.
It's called metamorphosis.
I'm a tadpole with legs.
So the tadpole has a little tail still, but it has legs.
And then I swim and grow and do my best. I'll get 4 legs and be a froglet.
It's called a froglet.
I change and grow like this.
It's called metamorphosis.
I'm a froglet. I'm a froglet. My tail is shorter, but not gone yet. My legs are growing and getting strong. I'm ready to hop and be a frog. I change and grow like this.
It's called metamorphosis.
I'm a frog.
I'm a frog.
I have 4 legs and swim in a pond. I hop and croak and lay new eggs. My frog life cycle starts over again. Ribbit, I'm a frog. Ribbit, ribbit, I'm a frog. Ribbit, I'm a frog. Ribbit, ribbit, I'm a frog.
Ribbit, 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 ribbit.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs
I'm a
up.
frog. I'm a frog. Called metamorphosis. So there are the pictures that we saw. We have eggs and tadpoles and froglets and frogs. So let's see if you can see the eggs. I'm gonna turn it so gently. See the eggs, and then it turns into a tadpole, and then a froglet. Frog. This one's a tadpole. You see? Oh, it's a tadpole, and then a froglet. Tadpole. It changes. These cards are pretty cool. This as a frog is called a tadpole when it is in the second stage of its life cycle. The tadpole hatches from the egg and uses its gills to breathe underwater. The tadpole begins life by feeding on algae in the water. The tadpole undergoes metamorphosis and begins to grow arms and legs. As it continues to grow, its tail begins to shrink and its body begins to take a shape of a frog. An older tadpole can start to feed on small water insects. After about 3 months, its arms and legs are fully developed and its tail is now a stub. It is this stage that's called the froglet and will continue to grow into an adult frog. Pretty cool. We're learning new things already. Here's our book. It's called Explore My World, National Geographic Kids Frogs. We've been reading a lot of nonfiction books, which I think is fun to learn facts and learn new things while we're on distant learning. And I hope that you guys are enjoying all the new scientific things that we're learning about ladybugs and butterflies and caterpillars and now frogs. And tomorrow we're going to learn about turtles. We're going to do a science experiment and watch beans grow this week. We planted our seeds last week. So we've been having a lot of fun stuff going on during our distant learning adventure. So Explore My World Frogs by Marv Ferguson Delano, and the publisher is National Geographic. It says, follow a frog's growth from tadpole to full-grown frog and the relationship between baby frogs and their parents. So we learned that caterpillars, after the butterfly lays the egg, she flies off, right? She doesn't stay and raise her caterpillars like your mommy raises the babies and raised you as a baby. So let's see how frogs behave with their moms. There we go. Look, a frog up in a tree. A tiny tree frog balances on a branch. Tree frogs tiptoe on twigs and leap onto leaves. Sticky toe tips help tree frogs climb and cling. Down by a stream, a big bullfrog snuggles into squishy mud. Squelch. In a sandy desert, a spade frog toad digs with shovel-like back feet burrowing underground. So we see that frogs can live in trees, they can live down by the stream, they can live in the sandy desert. Sploosh! Out in a pond, a leggy leopard frog launches off a lily pad. It arches through the air and splashes into the water. Those are the type of frogs that Miss Trisha's been seeing at her garden. Home sweet home. This is one of our questions that we're going to be asking you later, so pay attention to where frogs live. Frogs live almost everywhere on Earth except Antarctica, and that's the same with the other ladybugs lived all over the world, but they didn't live in Antarctica. Antarctica is a very cold place to live, so places like that are not good for ladybugs or frogs. You can find them on mountaintops and forests and creeks and rivers and ponds and lakes and fields and parks and gardens and deserts. We had 2 frogs in our fish tank. They were called dwarf frogs. There are more than 5,000 kinds of frogs, and here are some from around the world. We have the spade-foot toad, he's in North America. The Australia green tree frog. The fisherman's glass frog in Central America. The flaming poison dart frog in Central and South America. A Vietnamese mossy frog in Southeast Asia. And the Wallace flying frog in Southeast Asia. Frogs come in many different colors and sizes. They can be tiny or they can be huge. Frogs can be bumpy or frogs can be smooth. Some frogs are even see-through. Most mother frogs lay eggs in or near the water. There's the eggs. Pop! When the egg hatches, out pop tiny tadpoles. They live underwater and eat tiny plants. They look like fish, but they are wiggly, wriggly baby frogs, also known as pollywogs. That's a new word. Tadpoles start with chubby, stubby bodies and long, flat tails. But as the tadpole grows, its body changes and it sprouts legs for swimming and hopping. Its tail gets smaller and smaller. Its eyes get bulgier and bulgier, and its mouth gets wider and wider. Finally, the tadpole looks like a frog. Out of the water, it crawls. It still has that little tail there on a froglet. Now the young frog is ready to explore its new world and eat. Gulp. The frog loves to eat bugs. It shoots out its sticky tongue to snap up a passing insect, pulls the prey into its mouth, and swallows it whole. Frogs are not fussy eaters. They will eat just about anything that moves, as long as it can fit in their mouths. Frogs chow down on insects, spiders, worms, slugs, snails. Some large frogs also dine on mice. They even eat other frogs sometimes. Bugs and caterpillars are fine food for frogs. Do you think the worm tastes yummy or yucky? This frog just nabbed a delicious dragonfly. How would you like lizards for lunch and spiders for supper? And this mouse better watch out for a big hungry frog. I did not know that frogs ate mouses. Frogs eat all kinds of animals, and all kinds of animals can eat frogs. Birds and bats, snakes and rats, raccoons, fish, lizards, crocodiles, and even bears all gobble up frogs. So pretty much if you're bigger than a frog, then you eat a frog. So how do frogs survive? Survive means how do they stay alive? Some hide by blending in the background. Some have brilliant colors that warn hungry hunters. Don't eat me. These brightly hued frogs have poison in their skin. A frog on the ground can leap to safety, and in a treetop, a gliding frog spreads its toes wide and jumps off a branch and glides. Happy landing. All in the family. Don't let toads fool you. Despite their name, toads are a different kind of frog. But that doesn't mean frogs and toads are exactly alike. Frogs live most of their lives around water, and toads can be found in drier places, even in deserts. Here are some ways that frogs and toads are different and the same. So we're comparing and contrasting. Frogs have moist, smooth skin. They have no tail, long, strong legs, 5 toes on their hind legs, and 4 toes on their front legs. And they have teeth in their upper jaw and bulging eyes. Toads have dry, bumpy skin, no tail, short legs, just right for walking and short hops. So it seems like frogs jump higher. 5 toes on their hind legs and 4 toes on their front legs. Toads have no teeth and they have a poison gland behind each eye. Toads give you warts. Even when you can't see frogs, you can often hear them singing. Some frogs puff out their throats like balloons to make a sound. Each type of frog has its own special call. Some are so loud they can be heard miles away. Here are some frog calls. Can you make these froggy sounds? A bullfrog says, jug-a-rum. And a spring peeper says, peep, peep, peep. And a red-eyed tree frog says, chuck, chuck, chuck. And a kooky frog says, kooky. And a gray tree frog says, drill. And a wood frog says, quack, quack, quack. Isn't that silly? So we finished our book, and here's some more National Geographic books that you guys can check out on your own time. I want to encourage you to go to getepic.com. You all have your own passwords that have been sent to you to log in for free. And there's lots of different books there. I encourage you to keep doing that. So let's see what's next. All right, so here are the questions that you guys are going to answer. Ms. Tricia wants to encourage you this week to write and complete sentences, the answers, and take a picture of your work and post it on Google Classroom or send a picture to us on Class Dojo. Where are the different places that frogs live? If you were writing a complete sentence, you would say frogs live in the pond, in trees, in forests. You might want to go back and check the reading to find the different places frogs live. They live all over the world. What are the different ways a frog can look? Ways frogs can look. So they can have bumpy skin, smooth skin. They can be different colors. They can be large and small. So frogs can look like, and then list all the different ways. And then what are the 4 parts of a frog metamorphosis? So a complete sentence would say, the 4 parts of a frog metamorphosis are egg, tadpole, froglet, and frog. And what do frogs eat? They eat insects, they eat mice, they eat worms. And then what predators can eat frogs? The predator is something that can hunt and eat it for their dinner. So we learned bears and alligators and birds and pretty much anything will eat a frog, right? And then for writing this week, we don't have any letters of the week. We're just going to identify and practice writing the letters in your name. So just practice just your first name. Tomorrow we'll do our last name, but today we're just doing the letters in your first name. And here is your Google assignment. You're going to ask your child to say the rhyming pair. And we're going to watch this video with you. 5, 4, 3, 2. We're going to watch this video and we're going to name the rhyming words, and then we're going to draw the pictures of the rhyming words in the video.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
Good job. So we are going to ask your child to say the rhyming pair star and far. Next, have your child name more words that rhyme with star, like car, are, far, lar, mar, nar. Pretty much you just go through the alphabet and say different words. And then have your child draw pictures of the rhyming words and upload to Google Classroom. And then our additional Google Classroom assignment is listen and dance to this version of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Discuss the rhyming words. Select another word like sky and high. Identify the words that rhyme with it. So find more words that rhyme with high and sky. And that's all for today, folks. Here are some notes. When attempting to log into Google Classroom, make sure that you are first logged into your child's assigned email address on the Gmail app. Your device will not allow you to log into Google Classroom without first being logged into your email account on your device. So I have been able to help people walk through their problems and get on Gmail Classroom just last week. So the first step is to download the Gmail app, enter in your child's email address and password, keep the child logged in on that app, on that device, and then go to Google Classroom and try to log on. Also, don't forget to upload pictures and videos to the Google assignments if you're just clicking submit without attaching, and then I can't see if your child completed them. And if I haven't heard from you for a couple weeks, I have been reaching out to people that I have not heard from. We've heard from about 90% of you guys. But just give me a heads up and let me know that everything's okay. And don't forget to keep sending those pictures, whether that be on Google Classroom or Class Dojo. And then we will send out an invitation for our Zoom lesson that will be tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. on Class Dojo. And we just want to say thank you for your dedication to your child's learning experience. We appreciate you. Together we make a team. So thank you for tuning in today. I hope you learned something new about frogs. If you can get outside to a pond, maybe you can even find a frog and take a picture. Or go to the pet store. Maybe they have frogs to take a field trip. But don't forget to put your mask on if you are going to do that. So I will see you guys back here later for math. And have a good day. See you later. Bye-bye.